All right. Well, once again, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. I'm glad you guys could all be here. I hope you're having a great start to your week. This is Joseph over at Kona Corporate. Today, we're going to be talking about Google Apps for Work. This is kind of the new system that we got along with the new emails that we've transitioned into over the past month or so. Not only did we get new email, but we got an entire suite of applications called Google Apps for Work, all made by Google, and really cool, really powerful stuff. I'm excited to share this with you guys. This is where I spend a lot of my day is managing and using these features that I'm going to show you. So it's exciting for me to be able to kind of pass this on, and hopefully it will help you guys out and benefit you a lot with your kind of business. So, before we really jump into anything specific, I just wanted to talk for a minute about exactly what Google Apps for Work is. You may see Google Business, Google Apps for Business, Google Apps for Work. They've changed the name a couple times. It's all the same thing. Basically, this is Google's professional level um, everything. Anything that you see within Google that you've used on a Gmail account before, calendars, contacts, Google Drive, any of that stuff. With Google Apps for Work, we basically get a professional level of that. What comes along with that is more storage space, which you've probably never run into a storage space issue with email before, but with some of the other stuff I'm going to show you today, we'll see really how you can take advantage of that storage space. A lot of collaboration tools. So I know this is really beneficial for us working with you guys here from corporate, and also any of you that work together or talk to each other. There can be some really cool chat features and document management things where you can actually collaborate together, even between if you have a couple of employees that have accounts or something like that, where you guys can all work together. Google Apps for Work also offers better security. They have, I mean, it's Google, it's top of the line internet security. It literally is the best thing that you can get out there for what we're looking for. Guaranteed uptime, which I know that was for any of you guys who have been here for a while. I know with the old email accounts, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back to move on to something much better. I know over Labor Day and around that time, we had several issues with the old servers going down. And I know a lot of you guys work primarily from email, so that was really a hindrance to your business. And that was the primary reason that we really made it a priority to move over to something new, so that um, Google guarantees, they guarantee 99% uptime. To my knowledge, Google has gone down once in its entire existence, and it was for a couple of hours, and they got everything back up and working. So pretty much you're never going to not be able to access your email is the goal there. It's ad free. I know that's a big deal to some people, that you're never going to see ads popping up. Google's not accessing your emails to provide you with advertisements or anything like that. Um, but now to jump kind of in, we're going to start out in Gmail because I know that's where we all spend our days, is in email, communicating back and forth. But we're going to start there and then kind of move into some of the other apps. And just to give you a preview, if you're looking here at my screen, where you can access all the Google apps that we'll refer to today. Anytime you're in Gmail, you'll see up in the top right corner, there's a little box of boxes. If you click on that, you'll see kind of an application manager like you might see on a smartphone. You can hit more, and there's even more apps down here. But this is where you're going to get to all of the different Google apps that we'll talk about today. The way I kind of want to do this is we're going to jump through specifically, just to give you guys a preview, we're going to talk Gmail, Google Contacts, Google Calendar, Google Drive, and then Google's Office suite, which is Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides. And that's basically Google's equivalent of your Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So kind of the way I'd like to do this is we'll jump from app to app. We'll start in Gmail. At the end of each app, I'll give a couple minutes for you guys to type in questions, and I'll answer as many as I can. Any questions that we don't get to, please feel free to email me. My email is joseph@kona-ice.com. It's up there in the top left corner of the screen. Yeah, so does anybody have any general questions before we jump into the specifics? Somebody asked what web browser I'm using. I'm using Google Chrome, but Google Apps will work in any modern web browser: Safari, Internet Explorer, Firefox, Google Chrome. Google Apps will work across all of them. I prefer Chrome, but you can use anything that you're used to. All right, great. Well, let's jump into Gmail. I wanted to, for anyone who hasn't used a regular Gmail account before, this is your first exposure to Google's email. Real quick, I just wanted to jump through some of the very basic things that you can do with your email. So just it looks a little different, but it's going to function very similar to any other email service that you're used to. So looking here first, we're in my inbox. This is a sample account that I set up for the webinar today. But you'll see, your emails are just listed here in the middle. You can select multiple emails just like you would in any other account. You can click on an email to view it. You have a back button up here to go back to your inbox. Under this More tab is where you'll see a lot of your options for mark as read. Google also has this mark as important. This is one of the things where Google tries to learn what emails are important to you and filter those and mark those for you. You can use stars. That's something that I prefer to use over here on the left. This would be, I know a lot of other email services will refer to these as flags, but click on an email and star it, and that'll sort it over into this starred folder. So let's say we star these two emails because we definitely want to remember them, come back to them later. If I click on starred over here on the left, it's going to just show me the emails that I've starred. I can uncheck them, and then when I go back to starred, they disappear, but they still stay here in the inbox. Another thing that people often do is delete emails. Now, where Google is, in my opinion, really nice, you don't technically have to delete any emails. So that way, I know I've been guilty on my other accounts that aren't Google before, deleting emails, and then realizing in 2 months that I really wish I could go back and access some information in there. So whether you're in an email or if you just select it here in your inbox, you'll see this little box with the arrow on it. That's the archive button. If you click on that, it's going to be very similar to deleting an email. It'll disappear from your inbox. It won't show up, when you come in here to your inbox. But over here on the left, there's an all mail folder. And this is going to basically show you any mail that you've ever received. So anything that's archived, I'll jump over here and show you guys my personal actual Kona inbox. And if I go, I have everything sorted over here. But if I go to my all mail folder, see, I have over 6,000 messages in here because I don't ever delete them. So I can always go back and access them if I need to. If you ever want to delete an email, if there's something for security reasons you want to get rid of it forever, you do have that option as well. And there is a trash folder just like in any other email account. Just again, select the message or open the message and you'll see the trash can just like you would be used to in another email account. Another option that people often use in email is sorting things into folders. This is where Google gets a little bit different and it looks a little bit different. So you have two options of how to sort your email. You can do standard folders just like you would in any other account. So if I'm back here in my inbox, I select a couple messages, there's a folder right up here. And I can move that to any of the default folders that are set up. I can also create a new folder right from here and move these messages into that folder. However, another option you have, and this is something that I prefer and I kind of recommend for sorting your email, is labels. What this will allow you to do is rather than just sorting into one folder, you can actually set multiple labels to one email. Often I have emails that apply to more than one thing. I may want to label it as an email question, but it's also an email from a certain franchisee that I communicate with a lot. So I might want to label it with two different things. Well, when you're sorting into folders, you can't really do that because most email accounts think of it like a physical file and folder system where I put it into this folder and it can't also be in another folder. But with labels, I'll show you here, that's this button right next to the folder. I can put multiple labels on one email. So I can mark this as, let's create a new label called example 1. Hit create. Now you'll see this stays in my inbox, but it has this little label of example 1 here. Now I could come in here while it's still checked, create another new label, call it Kona Ice, create, and now this has multiple labels on it. And you'll see over here on the left, this is also created two essentially folders, but that same email will now show in both folders. This could be nice for, I know some people like to sort things by maybe you work with a certain school a lot. You might want to label an email for that school, but also label it as an event booking, something to that effect. So you have multiple options here. that's how I prefer to sort things. And then the other nice thing is if I archive this message to get it, I'm done with it. I don't think I'll ever need it again, but never really sure. If I archive this, it's out of my inbox. I never have to think about it again, but I can still come down here to these labels and it'll be there for later reference if I need it to. We're going to do a couple more things, a little more advanced things in Gmail, but real quick, let me filter through some questions that have come in. One question is about automatically filtering emails, and that's actually the next thing we're going to talk about. So we'll get there in just a second. So to re-access archived emails, if you want to see everything, all your emails that you've ever used, whether archived in the inbox, sorted, you'll go to this All Mail tab. That's the way that you would access anything that's been archived. If it was also labeled, you can access it under the labels here. Someone asked if folders will show up the same as labels, and yes, they will. So I'll give you an example here. Let me take this email, for example, and we'll use a folder, create a new folder, and call it folder 1, because I'm not very original. So there we go, and there's folder 1. You notice you click there, there's that message. So folders and labels will show up exactly the same. The difference is when you put something into a folder, it's only there. When you use labels, you're able to sort with multiple labels and different options. If you delete an email in a label rather than archiving it, yes, it will delete from everywhere. It will move to your trash folder. And then just like in a normal email service, you can empty your trash whenever you want to. I'm going to real quick get some things back in the inbox here so that we can make sure we have emails to work with. All right, perfect. Using labels will not affect your storage space. There's still only one copy of the email. Google is just sorting it in multiple locations. All right, one last question that came in, and then we'll move on to the next. The next step is about searching, and searching in Gmail is honestly my favorite part of Gmail. This is how honestly I sort most of my emails. If I have a consistent project, I'll use labels or folders, but Gmail search is using the same technology that your standard Google search is using, so it's phenomenal. If you do a search, it will search everything that is in that all mail folder. So whether it's archived, whether it's labeled, whether it's in a folder, whether it's in your inbox. Doing a search up here at the top, if I type in, for example, my email address, this is going to search everywhere except trash. Now we trashed that email earlier. It will not search in your trash, but it will search everywhere else. So for example, this Gmail team, if I search for, let's just choose this text right here, the best features. So if I go back here, let's say I archive this message, I do a search for the best features, it's going to bring that message up and it's going to show me where to get to it. So I wanted to move on and show you a couple of, really just one mainly advanced feature here because it's has a lot of applications, and that's filters. A couple people asked questions about that. So the way that we'll do that, if we come back here to my inbox, we're going to click on settings over here at the top right. Click settings again. And then you'll see this option up here at the top for filters. Right now I don't have any filters set up, but what filters will allow you to do is it automates your email inbox. It will allow you to automatically add labels, automatically move things to folders, automatically archive things. There's some automated emails that I get from services that I don't ever want to see, so I have filters set up to automatically archive those. The way this works, create a new filter, and I thought the best example for us to use today would be all the bookings that you get from the Kona Ice website. Sometimes it's nice to be able to go back and look at those all in one list. So the way this is going to work, you have different options of how to filter things. What we're going to do for that, those emails all come from the address no-reply@kona-ice.com. So we're going to create a filter based around that address. So you'll see up here the first option is from. We'll type in that no-reply@kona-ice.com. That's really the only thing that we need to use to filter here. You can do other more advanced things if it's a certain subject that you want to filter out, if it's a certain phrase in the email, whatever it may be, you can use all these different options here. You can filter things that have attachments, all sorts of options, but we just want to filter things that come from this address. So we'll go over here to the right, click Create Filter with this search, and then here's all the options that we can do. Now, most likely you're still going to want those to come to your inbox because those are bookings and you want them to, you're going to want to respond to them. But you may want to add a label to them so that you have all of those in the same label and you can go back and reference them later. You also may want to star it because that's an important thing that you need to reference. So you can just check whichever things that you want to do here. So if I wanted to apply the label, let's make a new label called bookings. Hit create, and then make sure there's no other options that you want to use here, and hit create filter. Now what that's going to do is create this filter, and now from this point forward, unfortunately, because there's no franchise tied to this email, I don't have a good way to actually show this happening, but any event booking that came in from the corporate website would now automatically have a label applied to it called bookings. You'll also see over here on the left that bookings is a new option. So as all those come in and you have other emails in your inbox as well, if you clicked on this bookings link, it would display only the emails that have come as bookings from the corporate website. Another thing I wanted to show you all is your signature. I know when we used to set up the Gmail accounts for some of you guys, we would build a signature for you, and that's the way Google Business does. It's actually mostly a benefit because it, for security reasons, requires you to log in and create your own password. When you first set it up, we weren't able to actually build the signatures for you. I know I've had several people ask me about that, so I wanted to make sure to touch on that today as well. So if you click on settings over here on the right, again, under the general tab, if you scroll down, there's this signature box. Now, for the basic signature, you can type here anything that you want, and it just comes up as a text signature. You can use these formatting options to bold, italicize, change the size. But the question I often get is, how do you add that little Kona Ice logo in? The way that you're going to do that is you're going to click on this Insert Image button right here. And the way that Google works is it uses a linked image rather than allowing you to upload an image. The reason for this is uploaded images in today's email world often get flagged by spam filters. So Google links it, which will make sure that your emails don't get marked as spam. The image URL that you're going to enter is kona-ice.com/images/logo.png. And what I'm going to do is copy that and put it over here in this note on the left so that you guys can reference that. But you'll see once you type that in, this just automatically pops up. You click OK, and now you have that logo in your signature. Scroll to the bottom, hit save, and now when you compose a new message, you'll see that the Kona Ice logo and whatever else you've typed is down here in your signature. I have one last thing for Gmail, then we'll look at a couple questions, and then we'll move on to the next part of Google Apps, which is going to be contacts. Contacts and calendars will go really quick, and then we're going to look at Drive, and then we'll be done. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is inbox settings. By default, Google sorts your messages with a couple different folders. And you can see that if you click settings up here at the top left and configure inbox, go ahead and hit save there. I had them turned off, but you'll see these three big tabs up at the top. And it basically is trying to sort out all the emails that you get from Facebook and all the promotional emails and things that you get from Best Buy and whoever else that you've subscribed to, and get those out of your inbox so that you only have to see those when you choose to click on them. The one reason I wanted to show this to you, you can check out some of those other inbox settings. You can turn this off if you want to, but the one reason I wanted to show this to you is because sometimes the emails that we send you from Constant Contact will go into this promotions tab because they're coming from an email service. There's honestly really no way around this other than turning that promotions tab off. But I would just say if you think you're not getting emails from us, check that tab first. A lot of times when I get questions from people, that ends up being where those emails are. So that's all I have for Gmail. Let me take a look at a few questions here, and then we will move on to Google Contacts. The signature will transfer to your phone if you are using the Gmail app on your phone. If you're using the built-in Mail app like on an iPhone or the built-in non-Gmail app on an Android phone, the signature will not transfer. Those apps do have the option where you can go in and create a signature on the phone settings as well. But the signature that you create within here that we just looked at will only work if you're using the actual Made by Google Gmail app. It is for iPhone users, it's free download from the App Store. For most Android users, it will come built in on your phone. I've had a couple of questions as well about the truck image. I know if you've received emails from Tony, he has a truck in his signature. Sargent's actually today, believe it or not, working on building that, and that will be a separate link where I showed you to put in that images/logo.png. It'll just be a different link that you'll type in. We'll post that on the franchisee login once it's ready. And the last question we're going to look at right now, I think, is adding links to signatures. Let's jump back in here to settings, go down to the signature. If you want to add a link, go ahead and type in, so for example, visit us on Facebook. Type in whatever you want to link, highlight it, and click this little link button right here. Here you'll type in where you want that link to go, hit OK, and now that becomes a clickable link. Again, make sure you hit save after you do that. A couple of you had questions that your emails haven't migrated over yet. I know there were some accounts where when the migration company was trying to do that, they received password errors that we had provided them with the wrong password. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're in that situation where you wanted your emails migrated over, but they haven't come over yet, please just shoot me an email after this webinar and just make sure that we have the correct information for your old account wherever you're migrating from, the username and the password there, and I'll forward that on to the migration company. And they've been really good about, as soon as we get them the updated correct information, they get everything done within the next couple of days. Any other specific technical questions about that, always feel free to email me. I'll do my best to get back with you within a day or two, if not quicker, and we'll get everything figured out. But I know that actually took a lot longer than I was planning. So now we're gonna keep busting through and go into Google Contacts. Again, this one will be real quick. So the way you access contacts, if you're in Gmail here, the easiest way, just click on Mail in the top left and click Contacts. Google will automatically save anyone that you've emailed before. I haven't sent out any emails from this sample account, but they'll automatically save those down here under Other Contacts. Wanted to show you just real quick. To create a new contact, just click the New Contact button, add in any information. For example, we'll add me in here. You can add as much or as little detail as you would like. And then it automatically saves. So all you have to do is click the back button once you're done, and now you'll see that contact is added. You can sort contacts in multiple ways. Let me add one more contact here so we have two. I'll add Sargent in as well. So now we have two contacts here. And you can select multiple contacts. You can sort them into groups. You can basically, create groups for different types of organizations you work with. If you have a school where you have multiple contacts, you could put them into a group. And the nice thing is, so let's say we create a new group here and we'll call it corporate. If I go back here to mail and compose a new message, I can just type in corporate, and it'll allow me to select that group so that I can send an email to everyone in that group. The only other thing I wanted to show you with contacts real quick is importing and exporting. Mainly exporting, because when we send out the monthly email blasts, if you want to update us with your contact list, the easiest way to do that is just to export your Google Contacts. The way you're going to do that, if you're here in Contacts, you're just going to click More and Export. You shouldn't have to change these settings, just all contacts and Google CSV. Click Export. What that's going to do is download a file to wherever your downloads normally go. On a Mac, it's normally just going to be the standard downloads folder. On a PC, it's typically going to be the My Downloads folder, which is inside My Documents. Some computers will be different if you change that, but wherever you normally download things from the internet, this file will show up. Again, it's called google.csv. And then when we send out that monthly email requesting your database, just attach that file, reply to the email, and then we take it from there and get everything uploaded into Constant Contact. The same thing, this probably won't apply to many of you, and there's a full walkthrough on the franchisee login to transfer contacts from another Google account, but there's also an import option right here. If you have a contacts file from some other program that you want to put into Google, you just click import, choose a file just like you would upload anything else to the internet, and Google will do its best to get all the information sorted properly. It's going to need to be a CSV file or a vCard file. Both of those are typically what you would get if you exported contacts out of another service like Outlook or Yahoo Mail or something like that. So that's all I have for Google Contacts. Any quick questions on that? I know we really need to keep busting through things here, but I do want to make sure that we get the things that you guys need to know answered. To get a picture to go with a contact, this is one of the nice things about Google Business. If it's someone else from within Kona Ice, the at Kona Ice addresses, because we're all on one business account. For example, with Sargent, he's uploaded a picture, so I don't know if you saw that right when I clicked save. It automatically put his picture in here because it's able to reference across the different Kona Ice accounts. If it's someone outside Kona Ice that you want to add a picture that you have, there's just this add picture button right here. If you need to separate contacts, if you don't want to send us all of your contacts, when you go, let me go back to contacts here. What you would want to do is create a group specifically for the email blast. And then when you go to more export, you can select just a specific group. Never change this bottom one. Google CSV is always the format that we need. But on the top, you could select a specific group that you wanted to export. These contacts will sync over to your phone as well. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about a lot of the mobile side of this today. I'm hoping to be able to do that in a later webinar, possibly even in a breakout session at convention. But yes, whether you're on iPhone or Android, there is a very easy way to get these contacts synced over. Actually, if you still have the original email that we sent to your old address about how to access your new Google Business account, there is a link at the bottom of that email for every major smartphone that shows how to get all of this set up. All right, next we're going to take a look at Google Calendars. And this is something that I know a lot of you already use, and there's a lot of good information on the forum. I know those of you who have come into Kona College, they talk about Google Calendars there. So we're not going to spend a lot of time here, but I did just want to go over basically what I see as the three main functions of calendars, which is creating events, creating multiple calendars, and sharing your calendars. So first we're going to look at how to create an event, and there's different ways to do this, but the most basic way is just to click create up here in the top left. Again, I apologize, how you get to Google Calendar. We talked about this little app switcher up here at the top right when we first started. Click on that and you'll see calendars right there, and that'll bring you to this screen for Google Calendars. So to create an event, you'll just click this create button up in the top left, give your event a title, give it a time and date, You can enter, and then that's basically all you have to do. And then you can add as much detail down here as you want about more specifics. You can enter a location. This will actually use Google search as well. So it'll find places that are listed on Google, and you can use that to actually populate an address. I know some of your smartphones will allow you to use your calendar to navigate there, and that's kind of a cool little added feature that Google lets you use. For the description, I know a lot of people who use Google Calendars for their booking will put under the description all the details of the event. So if there's a certain place you need to park, how much you're charging, all that stuff, so that you can go back and reference it, because these events will stay in here forever as long as you don't delete them. So if you ever want to go back and reference a previous event, you can do that. You can sort the events by color if you want to, add notifications. So we'll just do sample up here, hit save, and then you'll see that that event is now saved right here on my calendar. You can view your calendars in different ways, by day, by week, by month, and you'll see all those same events on here. Google will by default put in holidays for you, so that's kind of nice, so you can plan things out far in advance, knowing when holidays are. Next, I want to look at how to create an additional calendar. I know a lot of you, especially if you have multiple trucks, or you have a truck and a mini, you have a separate calendar where you put all the events for truck 1 on calendar 1, you put all the events for truck 2 on calendar 2, and so on. The way that you'll do that, if this isn't already expanded, if you see these little arrows are pointing to the right over here, where my mouse is, just click on that arrow and it'll expand down, and you'll see all the calendars that you currently have. So right now, the only actual calendar that we have is this Kona Ice example. If I wanted to create a second calendar, the way that I would do that, next to my calendars, click this down arrow, click create new calendar. I can give this calendar a name called, we'll call this truck 1. And then you can add more details in here if you need to. Typically for the calendars, for what I know most of you are doing, you don't really need any additional details. You'll just hit create calendar, and then it'll take a second to create here. And then we'll see over on the left, once it's done, that we have a second calendar called truck 1. Now you can customize these calendars further by clicking the down arrows next to them, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But the main nice thing that you can do here, so let's say, we'll call this sample, let's just say this sample event here is for our mini, and that's on this Kona Ice example calendar. Now if I wanted to create another event for what my truck's going to be doing that day, let's say party, and we have this option to choose a different calendar, and we could say truck 1. Hit save. Now the nice thing is you'll see that the colors on these events correspond to the color on the calendar. Makes it nice, especially if you have a lot of things going on at the same time, to really quickly be able to see, and you'll get used to using the different colors and being able to really quickly know, okay, truck 1's doing this event, mini 1's doing this event, and this is a personal dentist appointment that I need to go to all at the same time. And you can then, that'll help with scheduling and sorting things out, and making sure that everything's covered. The last thing I want to show you in calendars, and then we'll have a few minutes for questions here, is how to share a calendar. Some people choose to share their calendar publicly. You can post a link on Facebook. Personally, I don't recommend that. You set a lot of, I think, false expectations if you show your full calendar out to people. But where this can be really valuable is if you have a spouse that you work with, a family that you work with, husband and wife, and even multiple employees. There's just different ways to share your calendars out to those people. The way that you're going to do that, so let's, for the sake of this example, we're going to say that this Kona Ice example is my personal stuff. So I just want that for me. This is going to be my family dinner, my dentist appointment, whatever. I don't want anyone else to see that. I'm going to leave that calendar how it is. But truck 1, let's say I want all of my employees to be able to see this calendar so that they can always know what truck 1 is doing. You're going to click the little down arrow next to this calendar, and you're going to click share this calendar. Now the nice thing about this is going to give other people access to this calendar without actually having to give them your password to Google. What you can do here is you can share it with their email. So for example, if I wanted to share this calendar with Sargent, I'll type in Sargent's email here, and then it's going to give me some options over here to the right. You can see I'm now sharing this with Sargent, I can give him the option to make changes and manage sharing. Um, Actually, I'm going to use a different example here because Sargent is an admin. So let's say Jessica. Now I have multiple options here. I can just allow her to see the calendar. If you're the only one doing booking and setting up events, I would recommend doing it this way. That way, no one else accidentally makes a change and causes some problems with your calendar. Um, if you have someone else who's helping you with booking, you have the option to make changes to events. This will allow them to come in, create their own events, make changes to current events as they're talking to people. And then the other option that you might use is make changes and manage sharing. Um, this is kind of the most access that you can give someone is basically making another person an admin of this calendar. So I'd be cautious with who you give that out to, just because you don't want them to remove you from the calendar or anything like that. So I would recommend as much as possible staying with just these two options here, make changes to events or just see events. Once you click save there, that's going to send those people a notification that you're sharing a calendar with them to whatever email address that you provided. And basically at that point, then they will be able to go into their own calendar on their account, but see the Kona Ice stuff there. And the way, just so you guys can see the way that that works, if I come over here, this is back to my actual Kona account. If I go into my calendar, I have these different calendars, these Kona Ice, Kona Creative, Kona Webinars. These are not actually my personal calendars. These are calendars, I believe Sargent originally created them, but he gave me access to everything on these calendars. So they now show up on my calendar without having to access his account. Perfect. All right, let's jump into a couple questions and then we're going to jump into, I think, probably the most exciting part of this because it's the part that I would imagine not a lot of people are using yet. And that is Google Drive. But let's take a few questions first and then we'll move on. Someone asked if the other people have to have a Google account in order to see the calendars. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure on that. If you want them to be someone that edits the calendars, then yes, they definitely do. I believe that you can allow them to view the calendar to any email address because it will just provide them a link to see it. But yes, in order to edit the calendars, they will definitely have to have a Google account. It doesn't have to be a Kona Ice Google account, but it has to be a Gmail account. Along with that, if you have an employee that you want to create a Google account for, email me. We can definitely do that. Do you know that that will be an additional, if you want them to have an actual @Kona Ice Google business account, that will be, it would be an additional $60 a year because it's going to take up another license, but definitely something we can do. Just to let me know. Other than that, if they're just going to be using Gmail, they can just create a free Gmail account just like anyone else would. Good question here. I know some of you have chosen to put your calendar on your mini website. Be cautious here because um, to the person who asked, yes, you will be able to see the description. The public will be able to see the description if you choose to put your calendar on the Kona Ice website, on your mini website. So I know what some people here who use Google Calendars really heavily will do is they'll actually duplicate the event and they'll have, you saw where we created the separate calendars over here on the left. They'll have the private one that has all the description and the details of the event. And then they'll just basically duplicate that event onto a public calendar that only has the time of the event so that the public can't see how much you're charging and see all the communication that you may put in that description. The description, if you invite someone to a calendar event, that's a real quick, that's something we didn't actually look at. But if you go into an event, you can add guests to that event. Um, they will be able to see the description of the event. So that can be beneficial if you are creating an event and you want to invite the person that you're coordinating with on the, at the other end, whether it's a principal or a business person at an office you're going to, you can invite them so that they can also see the details. And yes, that would be public in that sense to that person. All right, I think we're good to move on to Google Drive. And this is going to be, um, like I said, I think the most interesting new part. And this is where we're going to really start to see the advantages of this Google Business account versus a free Gmail account. So Google Drive, I have another tab opened up here already, but you can access that as well just by clicking this square in Drive. And I'm going to go ahead and preface and say we're going to rush through this stuff because we are running up on an hour and I don't want to keep you guys over. But again, we may do an additional webinar on this later in the year and or a breakout topic on it at convention. So because there's a lot that you can do with Google Drive, but I'm going to give you the very brief overview of Drive for now, and then we'll see where we can go from there. So Google Drive is the cloud, so to speak. In today's computer world, you always hear about the cloud and cloud storage, and some of you may have used something like Dropbox or Box.net, other cloud storages where you can basically take any files on your computer and put them online to be accessed other places. That's exactly what Google Drive is, except Google Drive does even more than that. So in its very basic form, you can think of Google Drive as a tool to access files from anywhere. There's Google Drive apps for all your tablets and smartphones. So you can put files in here from your computer. They will upload to Google, and then you can access them from those apps. We're going to start out with the most very basic side of Google Drive, which is uploading files. You can see over here on the left, this not the create button, but right next to it, the arrow for upload. You can upload entire folders from your computer or just specific files. For now, we're just going to choose files. And I've created a couple example files here. So in my on my computer, just in my normal, these are just sitting on my desktop. You can see right there, there's just a folder on my desktop called example. Click upload, go into this example folder, and I'm going to upload this PDF and this document. So I'm going to click those. I'm going to click open down here at the bottom. And you'll see it's going to take just a second, and it's going to upload these files into Google Drive. So now these files are online. They're not public. You're the only one who can see them. Again, Google Business has the best security out there. I trust it with everything. I mean, on a personal side of things, aside from Kona, I've put receipts, bank records, everything in Google Drive. Some of you may think I'm stupid. I might be stupid, but I do trust that Google has the best security out there. And the convenience factor is so worth it to me. So the nice thing is now that these files are within my Google account, no matter what computer I'm on, again, if you have the apps on your smartphone, you can access these files anywhere. So if I was to leave my computer right now, go to another computer in the office, I could pull up my Google account, just log in like I would for email, open up Drive, and these documents would be sitting there. I can download them, I can show them to people, whatever I need to do. Another nice thing about this is that you can share documents through Google Drive. So if you have a file that you need to share with a school, or a file that you need to share with me, however, if it's especially if it's a lot of files or if it's too big for email, something like that, put it in Google Drive. Then all you have to do, click on the file so it selects it, and there's this little share button right up here at the top. You click the share, and you can now type in any email addresses, share the document just like you would with calendars or things like that. People will get a link. You can also actually click this Get Shareable Link button, and that'll actually give you a direct link that you can paste into another email if you want to do it that way as well. Just copy that link, type out your email to whoever it may be, paste that link in to get them to that file or that folder, and you're all set. Let's go ahead, because we're going to move from this into the more advanced stuff of Drive for the last 10-15 minutes here. Any questions just about what Drive is, or the basic things that we've talked about so far? With Google Drive, with your business account, you get 30 gigs of space. This is actually, I remember I said earlier that we'll talk more about where this space could go later. And this is where you're going to use that space, because if you use Google Drive, you'll have pictures in here, you'll have videos, you'll have files, and that will start to use a decent amount of space. And that's where having these Google Business accounts really helps. With a free Gmail account, I believe it's either 2 or 5 gigs that you get for free. Otherwise, you have to pay to get more space. And you do have the option, if you want even more, you can individually pay to upgrade your account to get even more space than 30 gigs. For here, another question about if people have to be Google users. If you're sharing a file, from what we've looked at so far, no, you can send that link to absolutely anyone. It will allow them to go in and download that file off of your drive. Something that we're going to look at here in a minute, which is actually using Google to create files, then they would have to be a Google user in order to collaborate. And that's going to be the last thing that we talk about today. Someone asked if there's automatic sync. Yes, everything in Google actually, whether we're talking Drive, Contacts, Calendar, it's all under that umbrella of, again, that buzzword called cloud computing. So everything's being saved to Google all the time, and it's automatically going to sync to anywhere that you're using that. Someone asked about this versus Dropbox. For you personally, you can go continue to use whatever you're comfortable with. I really like Dropbox too. I use Dropbox for some stuff as well. We are going to begin, and this is where one of the huge advantages for you guys to these Google Business accounts is that we're going to begin using the Google Drive for the downloadables, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to access the downloadables. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Um, but I wanted to answer that question. Another question uh, was security on this Google Drive. Again, um, to be frank, when you're putting things in the cloud, when you're putting things into Google, it does take some trust. Um, Google does own these accounts, but um, everything's encrypted. So basically, the way that security works in today's world, I know, and in older security, um, people who worked at that company, basically they could access passwords, things like that. If I went to an old email company and created an account, someone somewhere at that email company could probably see my password. With the way that computers work today, all passwords and accounts are protected. So basically, if for whatever reason, and this isn't going to happen, but if for whatever reason Google felt the need to shut your account down, they do have technically the right to do that because it is a Google account. However, they do not have access in to see the files in your account. You can't call up someone in Google and say, "Hey, I forgot my password. Can you just get into my account for me?" They aren't able to do that. It's beyond me from the technical side how exactly that works, but again, it's one of those things that it's just kind of a trust level, and you don't have to use this if you don't feel comfortable with that. It's not at all necessary, but I do think there's some huge advantages here. So now we're going to jump into the last couple things here, mainly the downloadables, because that's where there's going to be a huge advantage here. And there is going to be one step to get this set up on your end, but we've hopefully made it very easy for you. If you go to the franchisee login at Kona Ice, where you just go to Kona-ice.com, scroll down to the bottom, log in. I'm already logged in, but you all should know the username and password there. This is the same place you would go to edit your local site, anything like that. When you come here, you'll see this post right here called Google Drive and Downloadables. Click on that, and you can read all this if you need to. I'm just going to kind of skip through it. But all that you'll need to do to get the downloadables while you're logged into your Google account, click this link right here. And what this is going to open up, this is your downloadables in Google Drive. All you have to do is click Add to Drive here. And because you're part of the @kona-ice.com account, that's all you have to do. So I'll click Add to Drive. Now, if I go back here to my Google Drive, you'll see that now within here where I had uploaded these other 2 documents, there's this downloadables folder. Now, what makes this really cool is that you used to have to get to the downloadables. I'm sure a lot of you know you used to have to log in, go to the franchisee login, click downloadables, open that folder, and download files. If anything was updated, if anything was changed, you had to do all that over again. You had to go back, log in again, download everything again. Once you do what I just showed you once and get this folder added into your Google Drive, anytime that Sargent or anyone else makes an update to the graphics and the content in the downloadables, it just automatically updates in your Google Drive. So you can come in here, open this folder. If you need logos, come here. We have all these different logos. Find the one you need and download it. And again, the awesome thing here is that as soon as Sargent makes a change and sends it up to downloadables, it automatically changes in your Google Drive. That to me, right now, we're new to this as well. So we're still learning some of the additional features. But to me, right now, this is the absolute largest advantage of the Google Business accounts that we've switched over. Aside from the fact that your email always works now, this is the other largest advantage to switching over to the Google Business accounts that we've received so far. The last thing I want to hit on, we'll take a couple more questions, and then I wish I had more time to talk, but we're running right up on noon already. But the last thing I want to show you, and again, I'm pretty much sold now that we're going to need to do another one of these webinars or something at convention, just because there's so much more that we could look at. But you can actually use Google Drive, and there's apps for this on all smartphones as well, as a document suite, basically to actually replace Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. If I go back here to my Drive, you'll actually notice when I uploaded this document, it has automatically converted it to a Google document, which this allows me I can click on it and view it, and I could do that with any file. But I can click this open button up here at the top. It's going to open a new tab. And this is actually now a Google document. So what I can do is I can go in here and, well, I have to retract that statement that I just made. Just 1 second here, I apologize. There we go. So just a little bit different than what I thought. Basically, you'll have to right click on the file and hit open with Google Docs. This will allow it to open as a document rather than just a preview. But that'll open up a new tab. And now this, you can see, looks very similar to Microsoft Word. And you can actually come in here. You can type whatever you need to. You can, just like in Word, you can highlight things, bold, italicize, change the font. Whatever you need to do, it automatically saves. You'll see up there at the top, automatically saves. But where this gets really cool is, especially within Kona Ice, if you have employees again or family members that use Gmail, you can collaborate on these documents and you can allow multiple people to edit them in real time. So rather than, I type up a document, send it to someone else, hey, do you have any corrections? They have to go download it, make their corrections, save it, send it back to me. If you have these things here, you can do file share. Again, you can share this with any Gmail account, whether it's the @Kona Ice accounts or a regular Gmail account. Just like in calendars, you can give different permissions. You can just allow people to view it. You can allow people to make comments on the document, which is kind of even an additional thing. Kind of like if you've seen, worked with like marked up PDFs and things like that, where they don't actually change your document, but they can give you feedback. You can allow them to just view it, or you can allow them to edit it. And what this does is actually it puts, just like kind of we did with the downloadables, it puts that file into their drive as well. And then you can both go make changes and you don't have 2 different copies. It's the same copy, just allowing multiple people to edit it. And this would be true as well if we go back here to Drive. You can create new documents, new presentations, and new spreadsheets. And these all work very similarly to Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. And um, again, that's it's kind of a whole another hour probably of talking about all the details and things of that. But I think that's a huge advantage. I know we've started really using that here around the office just to collaborate on things that when myself and Sargent and Jessica are working together on getting something ready for the website or something like that, we can just create a Google document, and then rather than having to go back and forth with all these different versions, we just have one version that we're all making updates to, all making comments on, and it's really nice. So I know it's noon. I know some of you guys probably need to go. But I'll take a few more questions, and then if you have any additional questions, I know I'll probably get a lot, so feel free to email them to me, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But let's jump through a few of these here, and then how about we'll say 12:10. We will absolutely cut it off and make sure that you guys are good, and you can go enjoy the rest of your day. Another thing that's really nice about this, and the first question I saw, can you track changes in a document? Yes, you can. And what makes this even nicer, and something that we had to use here at the office the other day, is if you share this with a couple people and somebody really messes it up, there's actually revisions. So if you find the document, right click on it. You can say, where is it? I have to remind myself here how to get to this. Let's open the document actually, and there it is. So if you're in the document, File, See Revision History, and then this is a brand new document, so we only have a couple, but you can actually see on some documents there are just it'll list out every time the document's saved. So if something drastic happens and you need to go back, you can jump back to, okay, what did this document look like yesterday at 1 o'clock? And I can jump back to that time, and yeah, you'll lose any changes that have been made since then. But the nice thing is that basically everything's auto saved, so you never have to worry about a document being changed and losing something that you need. Let's see. On these, you can share. Again, you can share with a non-Gmail user and they can download the file, but in order to do this collaboration, it does have to be someone with a Gmail or an @Kona ICE account. Somebody asked if I work in Google Docs, can this be converted to a Microsoft file? Yes, it can. So if you click File on whichever document you need, you can say, need to get back to the main version here. So let me get out of the revisions and go back to the main version. I can say File, Download As, and it gives me a bunch of different options. I can do a Word document. I can just do a rich text, which is a more generic thing. I can do plain text. I can do a PDF. It gives me a lot of different options here. Someone asked if Google Apps can replace like a CRM like Salesforce or something like that. I know it's not what it's designed to do. So I would say probably not to the full extent, but I know a lot of people have foregone a more complex CRM like Salesforce, and between the documents and the calendars and the contacts actually, we didn't have time to look at this today, but there are tons and tons of different fields that you can add into contacts, as well as a notes section that you can just type out as much text as you need to. I know a lot of people that I've talked to will use that context kind of as a CRM, and they'll just use the notes field to talk about events that they've done with that person. And again, it's not going to be as fully featured as something like Salesforce, but a lot of people make it work. If you can't, some people are asking about contacts since the change over to the new accounts. Back at the franchisee login, it'll be a few more posts back. Let me find. Here we go. So if we go back to the franchisee login, this this post right here from October 9th called Google Business Migration Help. The migration company, because of the privacy on your old at gmail.com accounts, they were not able to migrate over things like contacts and calendars. But if you click on this post here, there's links to videos that will walk you through exactly how to move those things over yourself. Documents with advanced formatting going into Google Drive. Google Drive does its best. It is a different program. So just like you would see with moving between any programs in any, whether it's documents, presentations, anything, there may be some problems where it doesn't maintain formatting exactly, but it does its best. And um, it's just if now trying to make sure that I'm answering the question fully. If you're just uploading the files as a storage, it will not affect the managing of that at all. The only time that it would change is if you actually open that as a Google document, like we did with the example, to edit it. That's when it may have some formatting trouble if it's an advanced formatted Word document. Difference between Google Drive and Google Docs and Sheets, kind of the same thing. Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides, which is their version of PowerPoint, are smaller applications within Google Drive. Because you can also use Google Drive to store other files from your computer. If you remember, for uploading, you can, let me get out of here, you can come back and you can upload files or folders. You can put anything. You can put video files, you can put pictures, literally any type of file that you want can be stored in Drive. And then Docs, Sheets, and Slides are smaller applications that allow you to actually do editing of Office files within Google Business. I don't believe, let's see, I don't believe there is a way. Someone asked about rearranging these apps up here. I don't believe that there's a way to do that. By the way, just to show you how much you have here, if you click more, you'll see some more apps. If you click even more from Google, it'll open up a new page. And these are all the apps that you have available to you with the Google Apps for Business. So another one, I know a lot of people will use Google Voice. It's a Google calling service for your business line, but all this stuff is available to you through Google Apps for Business. It just shows you kind of how complex and how many features there are there. You can, and this is a little bit more, I wish we had time to get to all this stuff. Someone asked about using Drive for sending files through email. That is possible. And within Gmail, let me get back over to an inbox window. When you compose, if you click attach files, it's going to have you upload from your desktop or wherever in your files. But then right next to that, there's an insert files using Google Drive. And if I click on that, it's going to show me my files that I have in Drive. And that will allow me to send those as email attachments. Someone asked, so could this replace Microsoft Office? I think so. It has for me. I mean, I haven't used any of my Office applications since we started this. I know it's only been a month, so maybe there's going to be a time when I need to. But I think it could. I think it could. Actually, funny, the next question I come to, this is where it does get a little bit interesting. Someone said, can I insert the Kona fonts into Google Docs? To my knowledge, at this point, now I know, of course, Google's always improving, but at this point, I don't think there is a way to. So that is where there can be a limitation with the online editing, is additional fonts, templates, and things like that. Google Sheets, yes, it does have formulas. I'm not an extremely advanced Excel user, but there's never been something that I could do in Excel that I couldn't do in Sheets. And I do use Excel a decent amount, or did use Excel a decent amount, I should say. Same as with the Word program, you can download Sheets files as Excel files, just like we looked. Where in the Google Docs, you can do file download as. The same options are available in Sheets and Slides. All right. And any other questions regarding this stuff, please feel free to email me. I know I think we had someone on here who was asking some more general questions about franchising. Those emails could go to Susan at Kona-ice.com. She's kind of one of the initial points of contact here when you're coming in early in the business. So I think that's it, guys. I did want to let you know one more thing on the franchisee login. We are going to be doing webinars almost every Tuesday for the rest of the year and even into January. We'll skip a couple around the holidays. But if you go to the franchisee login, you'll see a new tab up here at the top for webinars. Click on that. There's a full calendar here. We will send out email reminders as well. But if you click on any of these other webinars that are going to be coming up, there's a link within there to register. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, it's not clickable, but you can copy and paste that and register for any of the future webinars. So I think that's it, guys. I appreciate it again. Any questions, I will do my best to get back to you as quick as possible. I know probably have a lot coming in, and on top of that, with everything for conventions starting to gear up, it's getting busy around here, but I will do my best to get back to you as quickly as possible. So this will also be posted hopefully within the next few days here on this same webinars section of the franchisee login. So if you need to come back and reference it, you can feel free to do that. Have a great day, guys.